For the last few years, I've been really into urban exploring and photographing old homes, farms, factories, and cars left behind to rot and be reclaimed by nature. I know this is a dangerous and controversial hobby, and I never explore alone or break and enter. I just love capturing images of memories left behind. One of the abandoned houses we went to this summer was off of a long stretch of highway with nothing around except some farms and far from each other. I had spotted this house numerous times from the road and knew from experience with other properties that it showed signs of no longer being inhabited. Imagine a beautiful old home with some boarded up windows and other left as gaping holes, graffiti on the outside, memories scattered on the lawn, and no one in sight for the entire drive off the highway and down winding roads to get there. We passed a handful of farms and homes so far back from the road they look like doll houses. The house we are going to explore sits right next to a bridge, which the highway passes over, down an embankment and onto the edge of the river. I'm with a good friend of mine that I always go on these exploring adventures with named Chris and his girlfriend Sarah, who I've met a few times before. We park at the end of a long driveway and walk up nearly a kilometer to the house. The driveway leads us to the back of the house, so we walk around to the front door, and there's a lot of debris surrounding the house. Old records, letters, prescriptions, paperwork, greeting cards, and art. It seems like all the insides of the house are outside. Not terribly unusual, because some of the windows are missing. I stop and I read some of the cards and take pictures of old records left on the lawn. We go around the side of the house and approach the front, and there's a large, freshly patted down rectangle of dirt. It was nearly the size of a deep freezer, big enough to fit a body. I'm not sure why that was my first thought. Too many horror movies, maybe? We stand around apprehensively, trying to reason this out. The house has been abandoned for at least 7 years, going by the dates on the letters we found outside the home. Unable to come up with a reasonable explanation, we make a choice to still go inside, although we are on edge, and I can feel my heart beating faster. I approach the door, twist the handle, and open it. What is the first thing we see in the doorway? A small machete on the floor next to an illustrated book of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I know what it is before even reading the title because I had a copy of the same little yellow book when I was younger. My heart races and I'm breathing shallowly, but trying to be brave. So I go into the house first. Chris and Sarah follow closely behind. It's darker because of the boarded up windows on the side of the house, and little streams of sunlight peeking through the boards blind me when they catch my eyes, but they light up the way and cast a glow on the debris of the hallway. An old fridge and a deep freezer lying on their side. I feel compelled to look inside them. Paranoia tells me that there's a dead body inside, but there's nothing. In the last part of the hallway leading to the rest of the house is a heavy and rusty metal shovel resting against the wall. The living room is darker still, except for a bit of graffiti and an old rusted out walker. Of all things, it was just that lone, rusty walker that really gave me the creeps. In the dining room, there are knives scattered all over the floor and the debris. So many knives. When we look in the kitchen, none of the other utensils have been taken out of the drawer, just the knives. I peek in the bathroom and marvel at the old bottles and containers of Noxzema. We make our way upstairs, and we're taking pictures of random things we found in rooms and commenting on different objects, like the watch that no longer ran, or was hung up by a nail, or a pair of hockey skates sitting on a chair. When we come into the last room, the bedroom, we notice that there are a whole bunch of knives stuck into the walls. We're a little perturbed by this, but we chalk up the knives to rowdy teens. We're standing near the stairs to go down to the first floor and head home when we hear an angry, raspy man's voice growl. Hello? My blood runs cold. The grave outside, the knives have set a very eerie horror movie type feel to this house, and we stand still in silence as the air starts to feel thick. I kick myself for not listening to the signs that were telling me not to go inside. Who's in there? Again, the angry, raspy voice yells into the house. We're starting to panic and look at each other for reassurance while asking each other quietly, who do we think it is? A drifter, a killer, a nearby farmer who saw our car at the end of the driveway. We weigh out our options in whispers, and I say, let's get out of the house and we can be honest and tell them we were just taking photos of the old house. It's probably a neighbor or someone who saw our car, and worst comes to worst, we run. Again the voice. Hello, who's there? Hello, I'm coming in. The voice is angry, and you can almost hear it shaking with rage. We clamber down the stairs as quickly as we can, jumping down multiple stairs at once. Chris leads the way with me and Sarah running right behind him. There is an unboarded window in the dining room with the knives on the floor towards the back of the house. Chris vaults through the window. I follow without hesitation. Sarah does too. The yelling was thankfully coming from the front of the house, where the door and graves was, meaning they would take longer to get to us because they would have to run around the house to follow us. We ran the entire length of the driveway back to the car without looking behind us, jumped in, locked the doors, and started the car. The reason it was so unsettling was because it would have been such a far distance for anyone to have walked from the homes we had passed. There was no vehicle parked near the house, and as we looked back while driving away, no one came out, leaving us to wonder, who was it?